money, in the history of trust, in the history of institutions, in the history of humanity. A system that is completely independent of authority, is completely independent of institutions. A system that develops trust as the result of collaboration, communication, and computation through cryptography was born. This system allows people to exchange value, to transmit money.
So Bitcoin basically is a program, a set of rules that generates a digitally signed thing that we call a Bitcoin, right? And you can fraction it up into tiny little bits, and you know, you don't have to sell a whole Bitcoin only, you know, but there's a fixed volume as far as the rate of creation of these Bitcoins since the program started, and we know when it will end. There's a fixed date when it will end, and we also know that there will be a maximum. Yeah, well, we can look it up. I don't even care what the date is. It's in like 30 years or whatever, right? So, but what happens is every 5 years, the rate at which new Bitcoin is generated gets cut in half. And so it becomes more and more scarce over time.
Oh, okay.
Well, whatever it is, it doesn't even matter. It gets reduced over time, right? That's that's the point. And it's mathematically controlled. It's not a volume a volume of money that's controlled by a government, right? And here's the real, you know, governments borrow tons of money. And if you have debt, inflation is your friend, right? So if you're the government and you owe $6 trillion, it makes sense for you to print a bunch of money, right? Because then next, you know, like my example, when I said, hey, if I'm working for $10 an hour today and I borrow $100, and next week the average rate is $100 an hour, well, now the 10 hours of work that I borrowed last week, it's only 1 hour of work to pay it back. And so, you know, inflation is the real thing here. Is we let governments borrow money, and yet governments are the ones who are printing the money. And so Bitcoin represents something different than that. It's a fixed mathematical volume, and that's what's truly unique about it. Plus, it also, in terms of pure play economics, it's economically efficient, right? You don't have to carry 1,000,000 tons of Bitcoin as you would 1,000,000 tons of gold, or even cash. You know what? You could print your Bitcoin out on a piece of paper. You could write out a code, and you could just have it on that piece of paper, and you could delete it off of every computer in the world, and as long as you still had that code, you would still have your Bitcoin. In fact, that's more secure than any bank. You actually are holding the money. It's like having your cash with you, but your cash can be a tiny little piece of paper that you wrote some stuff down on a pencil. You laminate the paper, you put it in a little fireproof box. Now it's waterproof, fireproof, and if you wanted to, then memorize part of it. Now, you can buy stuff with Bitcoin. You can buy on Amazon, you can buy goods and services, and there's thousands of other companies that accept Bitcoin if you want to pay directly in Bitcoin. There are also there's also Bitcoin ATMs that'll do currency exchange right on the spot. So that key represents a cryptographic value that represents your part of the blockchain, right? That's your Bitcoin. And so what you would do is you would just download one of the really well-known Bitcoin wallets that are out on the internet. You install that wallet on your phone, and then you punch in that code into your wallet that represents your Bitcoin, and you're there. And then you can use it straight. Absolutely. That's yes. Yep. And some of them, they have them as like QR codes. That's why he's saying when you can email a Bitcoin, you can. It's a mathematical value. It's a key, you know? And so there's a whole bunch. We should pull up that that video that he has. He's got one
Bitcoin
on
Nuts,
that.
Bitcoin Core, BitGo, Bither, Electrum. There's a shitload of them.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. And he's got. Hang on, let me. You know, and it's changing all the time. That's the other thing is you can. There's new ones coming out all the time. So and actually that guy we were watching that at Tenopolis or whatever his name is, he even didn't recommend just one wallet. He says he changes his wallet on a periodic basis because he actually doesn't trust wallets. So check this out. So he has a real interesting strategy with his wallets. He has his cold storage, like the piece of paper in the safe kind of thing, for like, I guess, large sums of money. And then he has like a couple of other wallets where he stores like petty cash that he uses for day-to-day transactions. And some of them will actually store multiple types of digital currency, right? So it's not just a Bitcoin wallet, right? It's whatever your digital currency is. If you're working with Ethereum or Litecoin or whatever.
Hey guys, always be publishing and publish always. We might want to record what we're doing right here because this is valuable right here, especially before we know it. So it comes up organic. Whenever our response, is there a way we can record what's going on right now?
Antoine already started that.
Hey,
awesome.
But we got a recording of it. That's cool. Okay, good.
So you know the neat thing about what this guy's communicating about Bitcoin is that Bitcoin represents a transformation in the way we deal with money, right? When you talk about banks, right now, if you wanted any sum of money over say $1,000, and even that, I mean, you still might have to mother may I, but you're going to have to call another company to get permission to get your money. And then you might also have to pay a fee for that convenience to get to your money.
No,
Exactly. Right. Yep. And so, and you know, and then if you want to pay that to someone, you have to make the world aware that you're giving this money to a political cause, to some religion, to whatever you feel, you know, that I mean, if money is a representation of value, which is representation of our work, that we've produced that value, right? Then me giving money to a cause that I believe in is me devoting my work, devoting my energy. And that's something that we have a right to privacy on as well. And that's something that's really nice about Bitcoin. And a lot of people say that, oh, that's the sinister side of things and all the rest. You know what? Bad guys, that's like saying that bad guys drink water, so water's bad. You know, or you know, bad guys use roads, so roads are bad. What's that? Well, and they're trying to say that Bitcoin, because and without a doubt, a lot of the initial kind of commerce that started up around Bitcoin absolutely was of an illicit nature. Man, people got arrested over that, Silk Road and all the rest. It's or a lot of the applications we have on the internet with that, you know, streaming. We wouldn't be having this streaming video right now.
True, it's totally true.
So thank you.
Where it all started, that's where it all started. Yep.
So that's the whole thing, is when you exchange, there are currency exchanges that exchange Bitcoin into dollars. And at those places, hang on just a second. That's how you know it's live on the internet. But at those exchanges, and there are legitimate exchanges. The state of New York and New York City actually came out with a licensure for cryptocurrency exchanges, and there are a number of companies that are participating and compliant with that. One of the first ones that I heard about, that I started interacting with, was Coinbase. They're really big. A lot of the diehard cryptocurrency kind of folks out there, though, would not recommend leaving your money at an exchange, right? That you purchase. Right, because that represents centralization. Yeah, exactly. Right. They can't hack a piece of paper. Nothing. It's like cash. I could give you $1 million in an email. I wish.
So Owen, what's the rate of adoption? Like how late are we? Like,
so a lot of people are looking at the prices right now. It's just been crazy. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. I'm totally bullish, man. I'm a blind bull. The thing is I don't buy Bitcoin for this current run up. I started buying Bitcoin when it was actually I kicked myself. A buddy of mine was just bugging me when it was like $300, $150, somewhere in there, and I didn't buy any. And he was just trying to get me to like run the mining app on my computer, and I was like, I don't want to waste my time with that. Right. Absolutely. And so I've really kicked myself now. But I just recently started getting into Bitcoin, and there's been a crazy run up. But I'm looking at Bitcoin as a long-term opportunity to have a hedge against inflation. And you all you need is a few really good currency collapses where people want to protect their assets. Because if you think about it, if you've been diligent and you've saved money and you've got money in the bank, right, and inflation is going crazy, then your money is constantly depreciating in value. Right. And so if you could put it into something like Bitcoin and then only put it over into cash when you needed to transact, then that would be really advantageous. And so I think that's going to happen more and more. I think it's going to take a while. Still, just like the internet took a while for mainstream adoption, for security, things like that. But I think it's a really exciting technology, and I really do think it's going to change the way that we use money.
So
Absolutely. Actually, no. Most savings accounts do not give you 3%. Are they? That's pretty good then. That's impressive. But yeah, that's that if you're talking about, middle America, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, the crooks. Anyways, yeah, all of those kinds of folks. The people that we trust with our money, right? Yeah.
So who would be the demographic that we would target for these conferences?
everybody. That's what's crazy. This is
Really?
actually accessible to anybody who cares about money and protecting the value of their money the next couple days. All right. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever your, happy comes from. I hope you have it. So, all right.
Right.
All right.
Peace.
Take care.